I'm jockey Corey Lannery, and you're watching The Road to the Kentucky Derby.
Each year, more than 20,000 foals are born. For future champions, this is where the road begins.
Good magic to the front of the field in the bluegrass.
Audible, no doubt about it.
Justify winning the Santa Anita Derby.
At age 3, only 20 can enter the starting gates on the first Saturday of May.
All rise for Justify.
This is The Road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve. Today, Jordan sits down with top rider Corey Lannery as he deals with the tragic loss of his wife.
First few wins for a while was kind of overwhelming to go to the winner's circle and her not being there. So it seemed like there was an empty spot in the...
Also, in this week's flashback, a premature celebration creates a lasting impression.
But I'll never forget Chris Antley looking over to the photographers, floating that number 1 in the air. His confidence, that was very memorable.
And Triple Crown winning jockey Mike Smith takes us inside last year's Kentucky Derby ride.
So once I got him to switch over to his right lead, which is the Go gear, I knew at that point that he's going to win the Kentucky Derby.
Hello everyone, I'm Jordan Whitley and thanks for joining us on this stop along the road. Now we've made our way up the East Coast from Gulfstream Park in Florida to the home of the Wood Memorial right here in Queens, New York, Aqueduct Racetrack. 23 horses have won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, including Funnyside, who took second at the Wood Memorial here in 2003. On the flip side, since the Triple Crown Series began in 1950, only 8 horses have lost the Kentucky Derby and gone on to win both the Preakness and Belmont right here in New York. The last to do so, a Fleet Alex in 2005, and he's the focus of this week's Owner's Box with Chuck Zachney.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Good to see you. I got into horse racing at a young age. Always had a love for the animals, and that's kind of what got me. So, anybody nervous?
Of course.
I'm not sweating at all. More importantly, neither is the filly. Then I kind of took a little break as I got involved in my company and grew that. I started to get interested again in horse racing, and Smarty Jones really piqued my interest.
And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle Slough in 1977.
I decided to venture back into horse racing and actually become involved as an owner. I reached out to Tim Ritchie, and Tim Ritchie picked out a 2-year-old colt out of the Fassick Tipton May training sale, named it after my son, Alex, and we named him a Fleet Alex. When 2005, we were trying to get Alex, obviously on the road to the Triple Crown, and the first step being the Kentucky Derby. The first race was the Mountain Valley Stakes.
And it is a Fleet Alex who goes up alongside of Razor and now is going to move on by.
And he won it impressively by a couple lengths. The next race was the Rebel Stakes.
In the middle of the track comes Batson Challenge and Greater Good. A Fleet Alex is all done.
We were, I believe, 3 to 5 at the time, and he came in dead last. We're like, oh my gosh. And then 3 weeks later, we were in the Arkansas Derby, and we basically needed to do well and win that race in order to make it to the Kentucky Derby.
But a Fleet Alex has kicked it into gear, one of the most impressive Arkansas Derby wins ever.
It was a great experience, a great trip, and winning by 8 pretty much assured everybody he's Triple Crown ready.
Conditions are ideal and the track lightning fast for today's 131st Kentucky Derby.
Derby day was pretty exciting. Everybody was nervous but excited and optimistic, and we thought we had the best horse going in. I believe we were second choice at the time.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
He broke well from the gate. Jeremy put him in a good spot. They went really fast early. I think they went like 44, 45.
On the fastest opening half miles ever in the Kentucky Derby.
At the top of the stretch, he found a little crease along the rail. The rail was probably not the place to be. It was a little deep. And we had 2 horses pass us at the end, and we came in third, losing by a length.
A Fleet Alex, it's a 3-horse photo finish, and on the wire, it's Giacomo, who has...
Yeah, no excuses. After the Kentucky Derby, Tim said, we're still very optimistic. We got all the faith in the world in Fleet Alex.
Old Hilltop, Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore.
He went into the Preakness in really good shape. Matter of fact, at the Preakness, we were the favorite.
And they're off.
We had an outside post. Jeremy broke well.
Immediately, you see Jeremy Rose looking to the inside, and he goes, this is a brilliant move.
Scrappy T, never forget his name, with Ramon Dominguez came over, clipped heels. Alex went down, Jeremy hung on, and one of the most thrilling stretch runs in Preakness history.
A Fleet Alex, who almost fell at the top of the stretch, has won the Preakness by 5 lengths.
Alex wins the Preakness. We got her to Belmont, and we're pretty much the talk of New York.
The fans have turned out to see the rivalry continued. Derby winner Giacomo against Preakness hero Afleet Alex.
Saturday we were ready. Not only were we ready, Afleet Alex was ready.
And they're up.
I made a move at the top of the stretch past Giacomo. Dave Johnson gives still one of my favorite calls.
And Afleet Alex just ran right by Giacomo like he was standing still. Afleet Alex opening up with a tremendous burst of energy.
Celebrating started and continued through the night. It was just a great time up in New York. We were very close to winning the Triple Crown. I remember Jeremy getting interviewed after the Belmont and said he was the reason that we did not win the Triple Crown. He actually took the blame, which I don't think that's true at all. He actually gave 3 very good rides. We were just a little unlucky in the Kentucky Derby. Still lots of good memories, lots of good horses, lots of good stories, good friendships. Alex is a special horse. He will always be a special horse to me and to us. And I think he probably deserved to win the Triple Crown. Probably more for him than us.
Maximus Mischief was Zachney's Kentucky Derby hopeful. Unfortunately, a minor injury in training means he'll miss this year's race. But the family will still make it out to Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Oaks, where their filly Jaywalk is one of the favorites. Okay, obviously you can't win the Triple Crown without first winning the Kentucky Derby. So let's take a look at some classic close finishes set to today's new music and this week's horse tracks.
David was a shepherd till he met Goliath. Kings are made on the battlefield. Stepping out now, about to slay some giants. Gonna crush that snake nipping at my heel.
They're off to the Kentucky Derby.
Taking it down. We got the keys to the kingdom and 1,000,000 miles an hour. And we're chasing the crown, chasing the crown, chasing the crown. That's right, we're chasing the crown. Chasing the crown.
Down the stretch they go. Those 2 to the wire. Here's the finish. Silver Charm by a neck. It's a driving finish. Winning colors by a head. Lily T wins the Derby by 1. Real Quiet wins it. Bob Baffert 2 in a row. Allie Diva wins it by 3 parts of a length. Off the middle of the track, Rhinestone. Too tight to call. What an exciting Kentucky Derby.
Gotta rise on the castle and a heart full of power. And we're taking it down, taking it down. We got the keys to the kingdom and 1,000,000 miles an hour. And we're chasing the crown, chasing the crown, chasing the crown. That's right, we're chasing the crown. We're chasing the crown.
You don't get a better race than this.
Coming up next, Churchill Downs is helping families reshape their future.
Everyone here loves their jobs, and we just look so forward to coming to work every day because dreams that we help people to make reality is just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Welcome back to the Road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
This barn area where the horses are stabled is called the backside, not just here, but at every track. And the men and women who take care of these horses on a daily basis are considered the backbone of the racing industry. But who takes care of them? Well, Churchill Downs decided to create the Backside Learning Center to help these men and women and their families achieve a better life. Donna Barton Brothers has more in this week's Around the Downs, brought to you by White Claw.
Sherry, can you talk to us about the Backside Learning Center and how it even started?
The Backside Learning Center began in 2004. It was a kind of a project of the Derby Museum and Churchill Downs, who came together after they had recognized a need for just educational programming on the backside. We've really evolved into a comprehensive resource center, providing educational programming that empower the workers back here and also their entire families.
You offer a lot of services for the backside workers out of the Backside Learning Center. We can see a lot of books behind you, so you've got a library, we know that. What else do you offer here?
We provide a lot of services, whether it be any kind of legal assistance, filling out medical paperwork, paying phone bills, registering kids in school. English classes that take place every day, music classes, arts, anything and everything. We just really try to provide the support, and if we can't do that directly, we figure out where to send them in order to get the support that they need. Our work with families and children has been really important because we're really developing leadership, really helping them envision their path for the future. So it's really important to us that we have a 100% graduation rate with our kids.
You have people that are from here, but yet you also have a lot of people from different countries that this is basically home for them.
A lot of those people, they come here like me because they want a better opportunity for a better life. I do a lot of sacrifice for my family. It's tough.
Somebody in Raul's situation that, I mean, he works the jocks room, but it allows his wife to come and help the kids with their education.
I'm learning English because in the future I do one career and help my kids more for homeworks.
When my son showed me the text, look at that, Daddy, 100%. It made me feel good because all that work that I do is working.
We all know the term living the American dream. So many people come from other countries, and in some ways you sort of get to be the facilitator to help them have their dreams sort of be more than just getting to America, but living a fulfilled life. Do you get some gratification from that?
Yes, absolutely. Everyone here loves their jobs, and we just look so forward to coming to work every day because dreams that we help people to make reality is just a wonderful, wonderful experience.
If you want to experience the Kentucky Derby in person and maybe tour the backside, then visit KentuckyDerby.com for tickets. If you can't make it to the track, then you can also find everything you need to host your own authentic Derby watch party at KentuckyDerby.com. Coming up next, after the sudden passing of his wife, Corey Lannery tries to find the balance between his professional and personal life.
I was headed to Churchill to go to work. Got a phone call to turn back around that things wasn't going so good.
Welcome back to the Road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
Jockeys have one of the most unique jobs in the world, and one of the best, Corey Lannery. He's ridden in 4 of the past 5 Kentucky Derbies. And at Churchill Downs, he's been the leading rider meet after meet with nearly 1,000 wins. Now, professionally, Corey was on top of his game, but when his wife Chantel passed away due to complications of breast cancer, his world was turned upside down. I was able to spend some time with Corey and his daughter as they cope with the loss of a wife and mother.
She was everything to me, and she did everything for me. We moved a lot, and we've been through a lot, you know, but she was awesome. She never complained, and she was always there and by my side. They were always together, and she'd take her to dancing, cheerleading, gymnastics. They were inseparable. She had her 13th treatment and then had some complications, and her back was hurting her. Went into the hospital, to the emergency room, and then they took her in and was just going to keep her overnight. And I was headed to Churchill to go to work. Got a phone call to turn back around that things wasn't going so good, and when I got back there, she was unconscious and never came back. Who's that? Good morning, sunshine. You know, I'm very blessed. My family's been very involved. My mom stayed with me in Kentucky for 3 months, and here in New Orleans, my in-laws have moved in and helped me with Britland. I've been very blessed with a lot of help, family support, on and off the racetrack.
I didn't know king cake for breakfast was a thing. That looks wonderful.
It's really good.
It's been hard, but we've been very lucky.
Oh, there's the baby in there. I forgot about that. Now, what does that mean? Is that good luck or?
Good luck, then you have to buy the next king cake.
Oh.
He already got it, but then he put it back in the king cake.
I think she's okay. You know, she's got her good days and bad days, but she's a lot stronger than me. She seems to be handling it the best way that you can.
You know, when you're not riding, I hear you like to get out on the golf course. What is it about getting out there that really helps you focus, you know, in your career and in what you're going through personally?
I want to say it relaxes you, but it's a pretty tough sport, so I don't know if it relaxes you, but it just definitely takes your mind away from your job, and you go out there, and I just love it. You know, it feels so good when you hit that great shot.
I know you got back on a horse a couple weeks after everything happened. What were those first couple races like, and where do you kind of feel like you are now?
You know, the first week or whatever, it was hard. You know, hard to focus 100%. But once you got on and started racing, it kind of came natural. But then the first few wins for a while was kind of overwhelming to go to the winner's circle and her not being there. So it seemed like there was an empty spot in the winner's picture.
This is a year of firsts for you, and this will be the first time back at the Oaks. How do you imagine that's going to be for you?
You know, no doubt it'll be tough. I'm sure she'll be on my mind, you know, just especially when they do the parade, you know, because last year she led it. I'm sure it'll be emotional. We'll just have to see what happens, you know, handle it when it gets there. It'll be tough, you know, but we'll get through it, and it'll make us stronger.
Coming up next, jockey Mike Smith takes you along for the ride in last year's Kentucky Derby.
Horse can go from 0 to 40 to 45 miles per hour in a matter of 3 strides. It's a feeling like no other. Unless you've done it, it's indescribable.
And we flash back to a 1999 traffic jam.
I never had a clear shot to really stomp on the accelerator until just inside the 8th pole when I got a clear shot at him.
Welcome back to the road to the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve.
One of the oldest traditions in racing is the Silk Room, and we're here inside the one at Aqueduct. Now, speaking of history, this year marks the 20th anniversary of the 1999 Kentucky Derby, a story of a long shot winner ridden by a jockey given a second chance. Let's take a look in this week's Kentucky Derby Flashback.
I'll tell you one thing about the 99 Derby. It was one of the roughest run races I ever saw.
I was on a horse called Menifee. He was coming into the race in good shape.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
The bulk of the horses had the same running style, and that is they wanted to lay just off the pace. Consequently, what happened was they jammed up in the first turn significantly. I mean, it was chaos.
On the outside 6th, and it's a traffic jam at the first turn.
More horses had trouble than didn't in that race, I think, and Charismatic benefited by that. He was on the outside. Menifee was, I don't know, he was 16th or 17th early on.
You might be driving a Ferrari, but if there's cars all around you, it doesn't matter. We were stuck in traffic pretty much the whole way. I never had a clear shot to really stomp on the accelerator until just inside the 8th pole when I got a clear shot at it.
It's flying, but it's Charismatic.
I came up just a diminishing neck short.
When you watch the finish of the race, he came flying down the stretch.
I feel certain that had we been able to get free of the traffic just a few jumps earlier, we could have turned the tide on him.
It was a very tightly bunched finish that I'll never forget. Chris Antley looking over to the photographers for about 6 strides, floating that #1 in the air. His confidence, that was very memorable. He had been out of the game for 18 months. This was a second chance, and Chris was very happy to get that second chance.
That was a bold move by Chris Antley, putting that finger up at the end. Pat Day nearly got him at the wire, but hey, what a great ride. So what do jockeys do in the Kentucky Derby? What are they thinking during the most exciting 2 minutes in sports? Well, last year's winning jockey Mike Smith has the answers, giving us a stride-for-stride account of Justify's winning trip.
The sun shines bright in the old Kentucky home.
Well, in the Derby, when you're playing my Kentucky home, of course, it's emotional. It's pretty cool, man, when the whole grandstand, everyone's singing it. You even find yourself kind of singing it, you know, and when the song's over, everyone erupts. But then all of a sudden, reality sets in. Boom, man, now you're just so focused. More comfortable than you were before you went out there because now you're in some sort of control. The last horse is going in, so, man, you want him looking down that racetrack and getting away well, which was very important for him, which he did. He broke extremely well. Me and Good Magic actually kind of bumped a little even there, but it was actually a good bump. It sent me forward. That's because he jumped well.
Justify had a good beginning. The expected pace setter, promises fulfilled, will go out to lead them.
Here, I'm actually really happy at where I'm at. Bolt de Oro will come to my outside, going underneath the wire this first time, and when he did, man, Justify got a little aggressive. So we went a little quicker than we probably would have if that wouldn't have happened.
The first half mile in a swift 45.77 seconds.
It was a concern at the time because I know we're running along pretty good, but I took a peek under my shoulders, under my arms a couple of times, and everyone's right behind me. And I can see the horses that I thought were contenders I caught a quick glimpse of, so I knew that if I was going quick, they were going quick with me. But at this point, he's doing it well within himself. He's just reeling them off it, and he's just very happy, and he's breathing.
Up the backstretch of the Kentucky Derby, and Justify is just to the outside of Promises Fulfilled. The two of them are matching strides on the lead.
I look over at the horse next to me to my inside, and I could tell that horse was already in distress. It was already having trouble keeping pace.
Justified takes the lead as they round the far turn. He opens up now to a length. Bolt Doro comes after him. Good Magic is in the midst of his rally, and it's a 3-wide bid.
I knew Good Magic was trying to kind of squeeze up in between us there a little bit, so I leaned over, make him go around, and which he had to go around Bolt de Oro here.
Justify and Good Magic start to pull away from the others, and they're into the stretch. And it's Justify and Mike Smith turning for home in front.
At this point, I know that I got a lot of horse left, and that this horse is going to run big. Right in here, I felt Good Magic come to my outside.
Good Magic and Jose Ortiz a length behind as they come into the final furlong.
So once I got him to switch over to his right lead, which is the go gear, I kind of pulled my stick over to my left hand right there and just gave him a reminder. And when I did, he jumped into the bridle, and I knew at that point that he's going to win the Kentucky Derby.
They're coming to the wire. He's just awesome. Justify has won the Kentucky Derby.
And pull up nice and safe and sound because I thought that this was the kind of horse that could win all three.
Thanks to Mike Smith for taking us inside his winning trip. Now, you may not get a view like Mike's, but if you want to experience the Kentucky Derby for yourself, it's easy. Just go to KentuckyDerby.com. There you'll get all the information on tickets and everything you need to plan your trip. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for joining us on this stop along the road to the Kentucky Derby presented by Woodford Reserve.
There you go.